The year is 2742. Humanity, or what was left of it, existed in the fringes. Not as conquerors, not as explorers, but as scavengers. The Great Collapse, a cataclysmic event centuries ago that had shattered interstellar travel and plunged Earth into a dark age, had left humanity fractured, clinging to existence on a handful of isolated colonies and derelict orbital stations. The galaxy, vast and indifferent, had largely forgotten them. Alien empires, ancient and powerful, saw humanity as a footnote, a failed experiment best left to its own decay. Commander Eva Rostova, captain of the Ironclad, a ship cobbled together from the rusting hulk of a pre-collapse freighter and the salvaged engines of a dozen different wrecks, knew this indifference well. Her crew, a motley collection of hardened survivors, exiles, and those simply born into the harsh reality of their existence, were the descendants of those who had refused to surrender. They lived by a simple creed: survive, adapt, and never ever give up. Their current mission was typical: scavenging a derelict generation ship, the Odyssey, adrift in the uncharted void between known systems. It was a graveyard of dreams, a monument to a failed exodus. But within its decaying hull, there might be resources, fuel cells, rare alloys, perhaps even functional technology that could keep their fragile existence from sputtering out. The void was their home, their prison, and their unforgiving teacher. It had forged them in silence and isolation, and they had learned its lessons well. The Ironclad docked with the Odyssey with a groan of protesting metal. The airlock hissed open, revealing a darkness that seemed to swallow the light from their meager lamps. The generation ship was a tomb, vast and silent, its internal atmosphere long since dissipated. Eva Rostova led the boarding party, her pulse rifle held steady, her eyes scanning the oppressive gloom. The silence here was different from the void outside. It was a heavy, expectant silence, thick with the ghosts of a million lost lives. They moved through cavernous hydroponic bays, now skeletal remains of rusted metal and desiccated plant matter. They navigated corridors where cryopods lay shattered, their occupants long since reduced to dust. Every step echoed, a stark reminder of their intrusion into this forgotten mausoleum. "Anything, Jax," Eva whispered into her comm. Jax, her hulking, cybernetically enhanced first mate, was leading a team through the ship's engineering section. "Just rust and regret, Commander," Jax's voice crackled back, laced with his usual grim humor. This ship was a monument to failure. They never even made it out of the Sol system before. Whatever happened, happened. Eva ran a gloved hand over a faded mural depicting a vibrant Earth. The contrast between the painted paradise and the decaying reality was stark. They were the inheritors of this failure, the inheritors of a galaxy that had moved on, leaving humanity to rot in its own forgotten corners. But as they pushed deeper, a faint, rhythmic hum began to emanate from the ship's core. It wasn't the sound of failing machinery, it was something else, something deliberate. The hum grew stronger as Eva's team approached the Odyssey's central command core. It was a section surprisingly intact, shielded from the worst of the ship's decay. Inside, bathed in the eerie glow of dormant consoles, they found it, a device unlike anything they had ever seen. It was a sphere of obsidian-like material, humming with contained energy, intricate patterns shifting across its surface. It pulsed with a soft, internal light, and the rhythmic hum seemed to resonate not just in the air, but within their very bones. "What is that?" whispered Lena Petrova, the Ironclad's xenotech specialist, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Not human tech," Eva stated, her rifle still trained on the object. "Too clean, too alien." As Lena cautiously approached, the sphere pulsed brighter. Images flickered across its surface, not data, but fleeting glimpses of alien worlds, strange beings, and cosmic phenomena. Then the hum intensified, and a voice, ancient and resonant, echoed not in their ears but directly in their minds. "Greetings, inheritors of the void. You have awakened the Nexus." Eva froze. This was no derelict ship's automated system. This was intelligence, and it was alien. We are the Cathar, the voice continued, its tone devoid of emotion. This vessel carries a fragment of our knowledge, a seed of our purpose. It is a beacon, designed to find and awaken those who possess the potential for true galactic integration. Eva's mind raced. Integration. The Cathar were a reclusive, ancient species known for their rigid adherence to order and their disdain for chaotic species like humans. What did they want with scavengers adrift in the void? The Nexus, the Cathar artifact, projected more images, more information directly into their minds. It spoke of the Cathar's millennia-long mission, to bring order to the galaxy, to guide developing species towards a state of perfect, harmonious integration into their vast, ancient empire. They saw themselves as benevolent shepherds, guiding the chaotic masses towards a predictable, stable existence. Your species, humanity, the Nexus conveyed, has demonstrated a remarkable capacity for survival, yet a profound lack of integration. Your history is rife with conflict, your societies fractured. You exist in the void, a testament to your inability to adapt to the galactic order. Eva felt a surge of anger, quickly suppressed. The Cathar saw their resilience as a flaw, their struggle for survival as a sign of weakness. However, the Nexus continued, a subtle shift in its resonant tone. The collapse that befell your homeworld also isolated you, preserving you from the chaotic influences that corrupted other nascent species. You have developed a unique tenacity, a raw adaptability born of necessity. The Cathar see potential. The offer was laid bare. Join the Cathar Empire. Integrate. Shed the chaotic remnants of their past. Embrace Cathar order, and humanity would be granted a place within their galactic structure. They would be provided with resources, technology, and a purpose. In return, they would surrender their independence, their unique identity, and become another cog in the Cathar machine. Jack scoffed audibly. Join them, become like them. No thanks. I like my chaos. Eva remained silent, her mind working furiously. The Cathar offered survival, a guaranteed future. But at what cost? To surrender their identity, their hard-won resilience, the very essence of what had kept them alive for centuries. It was a gilded cage. The Cathar Nexus offered a stark choice. Integration meant survival, resources, and a place in the galactic order. It meant an end to the constant struggle, the gnawing hunger, the gnawing fear of the void. It meant a future, albeit one dictated by alien masters. But Eva Rostova, forged in the silence and isolation of the void, knew the true cost. To integrate was to surrender the very thing that had kept humanity alive. Their unyielding spirit, their capacity for adaptation, their fierce, chaotic independence. It was to trade the fire of their being for the cold, sterile order of the Cathar. They call our survival a flaw, Eva said, her voice low but firm, echoing in the chamber of the Nexus. They see our struggle as chaos, but they don't understand. Our chaos is our strength. Our flaws are what make us adaptable. Our history, even the painful parts, is what forged us. She looked at her crew, Jax, Lena, the others who had risked everything to follow her. They were the descendants of survivors, of rebels, of those who refused to be extinguished. They had learned to thrive in the void, to build from wreckage, to find hope in the darkest of places. We didn't survive the collapse just to become puppets, Eva declared, her voice ringing with conviction. We didn't endure 1,000 years of silence just to trade our freedom for a comfortable cage. We are the void forged. We are humanity. She turned to the humming Nexus. We refuse your offer, Cathar. We will find our own way. We will forge our own future. The Nexus pulsed, its resonant voice carrying a chilling finality. A regrettable decision. Chaos breeds only destruction. Your refusal guarantees your eventual extinction. The Cathar do not tolerate anomalies. Then the sphere went dark. The hum ceased. The silence returned, heavier than before. But this time it was not the silence of despair, but the silence of defiance. The Cathar did not take their refusal lightly. The Nexus, though a fragment, was a beacon. Its activation had alerted the Cathar Empire to humanity's continued existence and their defiant spirit. Within hours, long-range sensors detected the ironclad and its small, salvaged fleet. The Cathar, viewing humanity as a dangerous anomaly that threatened their carefully constructed galactic order, dispatched a fleet. Eva knew they couldn't win a direct confrontation. Their ships were outmatched, their technology primitive compared to the Cathar's ancient might. But they had something the Cathar lacked: adaptability and a desperate will to survive. "Lena, can you interface with the Nexus?" Eva demanded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display showing the approaching Cathar fleet. "Can we use its knowledge against them?" Lena, her fingers flying across the alien console, nodded grimly. "It's not just a beacon, Commander. It's a repository." The Cathar stored vast amounts of data within it, their history, their strategies, their weaknesses. They were so confident in their order, they never considered that a chaotic species might actually be able to learn from it. While Jax and the other captains prepared their ships for a desperate defense, Eva and Lena worked feverishly. They didn't seek to replicate Cathar technology, but to understand its principles, its vulnerabilities. They learned about Cathar fleet formations, their energy weapon frequencies, their reliance on centralized command. As the Cathar fleet closed in, Eva gave the order: "Launch decoys, scatter the fleet. Jax, target their command ship's primary energy conduit. Lena, prepare the Nexus's disruption sequence. We're not fighting their strength. We're exploiting their rigidity." The battle was chaotic, desperate, and unlike anything the Cathar had ever encountered. Human ships darted through asteroid fields, used debris as cover, and employed unpredictable attack vectors. They didn't fight with perfect formations, but with the ferocity of cornered animals. And when Lena activated the Nexus's disruption sequence, a carefully crafted wave of chaotic energy designed to overload Cathar command systems, the Cathar fleet faltered. Their perfect order dissolved into confusion. The Cathar fleet, crippled by the Nexus's disruption and the ironclad's desperate tactics, retreated, leaving the human survivors battered but unbroken. They had faced an ancient, powerful empire and survived, not through superior technology, but through their unique human qualities: adaptability, resilience, and a refusal to surrender their identity. Eva Rostova stood on the bridge of the ironclad, watching the Cathar ships disappear into the void. They had won a battle, but the war for humanity's future had just begun. The Cathar would return, and they would not be so easily deterred. "They called us an anomaly," Jax grunted, wiping sweat from his brow. "Guess they were right." Lena looked at the Nexus, now quiescent but still humming with latent power. "We used their knowledge against them, Commander. We learned from their order to create our own chaos." Eva nodded, a grim smile touching her lips. "We are the Void Forged," she declared, her voice resonating with newfound authority. "We were born in the silence, shaped by the wreckage and tempered by the struggle. We don't need their order. We have our own." She looked out at the stars, no longer just a graveyard but a frontier. "The Cathar, the architects, the empires, they see us as a threat because we are unpredictable, because we refuse to be contained. Let them fear us. Let them tremble." The ironclad, battered but defiant, turned its nose towards the unknown. They were no longer just scavengers. They were the vanguard of a resurgent humanity, a species that had stared into the abyss and refused to blink. "We have survived the silence," Eva said, her voice carrying the weight of their history and the promise of their future. "Now we will make our own noise. We are the Void Forged, and we are coming for our place in the galaxy." The stars, once silent witnesses to their struggle, now seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the dawn of a new, unpredictable era.